Hello, everyone. Katie again. Um, so something recently happened in my home state of Iowa that I want to talk a little bit about because it, of course, affects me. So our Governor Kim Reynolds, who has a notable history of just plain out hating transgender kids and transgender adults, came up with a bill, which is going to have a significant impact on some things if it gets passed. So this bill is primarily designed to target transgender people who have had gender affirming surgeries, and it would require them to have a special marker on their license denoting them as both male and female. And I'm going to talk about why that's important. But this bill does other things. It redefines the word equal. It redefines the word separate. And therefore creates some gray areas in the law where if a party wanted to, they could get away with murder, basically. So why is this so significant? And by the way, I was moving my hand around. I injured my hand this week. I had to get some stitches. So if you notice the bandage, that's why. So making transgender people who've had gender affirming surgery get special markers on their license denoting them as both male and female creates a situation. Well, it actually creates several situations which can create some bad situations for us. First, the only people that would ever see our IDs and driver's licenses would be law enforcement. Why would law enforcement want to know whether or not we've had gender reassignment surgery or gender affirming surgery of any kind? That really shouldn't matter, say in a traffic stop or really any other legal situation, even if it's something bad like domestic violence or something. Like, whether or not you've had gender reaffirming or gender affirming surgery has no legal relevance to anything. But this is where I think it's going, because of what's been happening with Utah and some of these other places that are trying to outlaw transgender people from bathrooms. So Kim Reynolds specifically said the reason she wanted to do this, the reason she came up with this bill, or that she promoted it, is she wants to protect women's spaces, which tells you right off the bat, one, she automatically believes transgender people are guilty until proven innocent, that she believes we're all sexual predators and we're going to sexually assault people, and that we need to be kept out of public spaces because we're guilty of that. Whether or not we've ever done anything, we're guilty until proven innocent. So this by itself it's a blatant and obvious violation of due process. We're being classified as guilty offenders for just simply being who we are. But the reason that this is important is what they're going to do, or at least this is what I think is going to happen, is, okay, so you have surgery. You get your ID changed to say your gender marker to say either male or female. Okay, if you're like me, you're a transgender woman, you get it changed to say female. You're a transgender man, you get it changed to say man or male. And of course this doesn't get into the whole non-binary thing, and how is this going to apply to non-binary people? But what I see happening is she's going to create another law that's going to say, okay, if you have a male designation on your ID, you cannot be in women's spaces. Locker rooms, bathrooms, whatever. And if you have a female designation on your ID, you cannot be in men's spaces. Okay? So if you're forced to put both on your ID, you're going to be outlawed from all spaces. That's where this is going. I believe that this is an easy or a somewhat easy way to just eliminate transgender people from society. You are now no longer allowed to be anywhere that's, any kind of gender segregated space. You can't go to a swimming pool. You can't go to a bathroom. You can't go to a gym. You can't go anywhere where there might be a locker room or a bathroom or a restroom or housing, women's shelters, things like that. You're just not going to be allowed out in public anymore. If it's any kind of a public situation that involves gender segregation. And that's really where I see this going. If it's allowed to pass, is a follow-up law will be easy to pass at that point, because this will already be on the books, saying that, you can't go into a women's restroom if you have, the M designation. But you also can't even go into the men's restroom because you're also going to have the F designation. And that's where this is going. And it's going to apply to everything. And, and even sports, they're going to say, transgender girls can't play on transgender boys teams, even though they've already got a law here in Iowa saying that transgender people can't compete in sports. But that's how they're going to keep it from being repealed. Just say, at the college level or even at the amateur level outside of schools, they're going to say in the state of Iowa, if you've got an F designation, you can't compete in the women's class or the men's class. You got an M designation, you can't compete in the women's class in the state of Iowa. And now you've been outlawed from sports because there's only a handful of sporting organizations that I know of that have like a non-binary class. And even then, who knows? Because we don't know how this is going to affect non-binary people at this point. So things are getting pretty sick because this lady wants special identifying markers on your ID that are going to tell the whole world that you're transgender. And this is one step away from the pink triangles that the Nazi regime had, prior to and during World War II. And I know you're saying, oh, Katie, you're bringing up Nazis. Hey, look, this is the reality we're facing. Things are getting so bad that it's starting to actually look like the Nazi regime. And, I don't know where this is going because it's gone to the House and it hasn't passed the House yet. So if it goes past the House, it's probably going to become the law of the land here in Iowa. And who knows how that information is going to be used if, you've got this dual marking on your ID that says you're male and female. What other laws could be passed that would use that information? If you're identified as a special category of person, it's going to be so much easier to target you, to go through the ID records in the state of Iowa and say, okay, anybody that has both markings on their ID, hey, we had internment camps back in World War II, for Japanese people. Things like that could happen again. Let's be realistic. Things have not changed much since World War II. We still have literal Nazis running around. 80 years later. I feel a little bit pessimistic about where our state and our country is going. When you've got state governors saying, we're going to take a whole class of people and we're going to make them guilty until proven innocent. And we're not going to give them a way to prove innocence, so they're just going to be guilty. And put a special marker on the ID to let everybody know that these are dangerous people. That's sick. That is sick. So I'm going to go. I've got some things to do, but I wanted to put this out there because it's not making a lot of headlines, and I think that it should. That, you know, Iowa and other states are going right toward, you know, the rail tracks of the Nazi Party. And in the upcoming elections, we need to stop this. We need to get these people out of power. Stop all of this. So, have the best week you can. I'm going to get my hand healed up, hopefully. Bye.